Alrighty, hello everyone, Chief Weather Forecaster Beckett, Webb here. Thank you so much here for tuning in. Let's get started with today's weather headlines here. We have a big weather day to talk about. Extreme risk for power outages for the top headline. Ice storm likely this weekend and brutally cold temperatures for the start of early next week. We also have the exclusive Highland weather projected snow and ice accumulation totals coming up very shortly here on today's edition of Weather Watch. You're watching January 23rd's edition of Weather Watch, and it all starts now. Alrighty, hello everyone, Chief Weather Forecaster Beckett Webb here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a ton of things to get to. Make sure you stick around to the very end because we are going to be giving you that exclusive Highland weather projected snow and ice accumulation totals and what you may see out of this system this weekend. But now let's go ahead first and take a look at the latest forecast here. Starting off in Asheville, temperatures will be warm in the mid 40s with partly sunny skies. Going towards Greenville, Spartanburg, rain is possible today, about a 40% chance of precipitation. Highs will be in the upper 40s. Also upper 40s with showers likely towards Charlotte, with sitting about a 50% chance of precipitation. Dakota at 49 degrees with rain and increasing cloudiness at about a 30% chance of precipitation. Gatlinburg looking at decreasing cloudiness. Highs will be in the mid 40s with about a 0% chance of precipitation. Looking at today's hourly forecast here, starting off the morning as we're out to school, out to work, anything like that. Temperatures will be below freezing at 30 degrees with cloudy conditions. Temperatures warming into the lower 40s by 11 a.m. Upper 40s 2 through 4 p.m. before we drop into the upper 30s. You see that massive cool down for the next couple of hours, cooling down into the upper 30s at 8 p.m., mid 30s by 10 p.m. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the exclusive Highland weather projected rain and ice and snowfall totals. So this is the official forecast directly from us. So here we're starting off with the latest snowfall totals out of this system. We can see mainly snow accumulations remain likely 2 to 3 inches towards Hickory, just north of Hickory, especially if you're headed towards the North Carolina, Virginia state line. Totals of 6 to 8 inches remain possible just north of Mount Airy. Locally here in the western North Carolina mountains, we could see about a trace to maybe 1 inch. 2 inches is also possible again through much of Saturday. We could see more widespread snow showers continue to be likely towards the Piedmont portion of North Carolina there. A total of 2 to 3 inches remain possible. Again, this is all subject to change. Trace to 1 inch remains possible towards the North Carolina-Tennessee state line along I-40. However, if you're headed just over there towards near I-640 in Tennessee, you can see just north of there, snowfall totals of 3 to 4 or 4 to 6 inches remain possible. So like the winter weather alert continues to say, avoid all travel if necessary this weekend. And the other reason why they're continuing to say that is look at the ice accumulation totals. So the snowfall, we're concerned about a little bit. We're not really expecting much out of it. Look at the ice accumulation. You can see the entire map is filled with red and purple. You can see here in the western North Carolina mountains, this includes the city of Asheville, including cities of Greenville and Spartanburg down towards Anderson. We are projecting some pretty high ice accumulations. Total of 0.50 to 0.74 inches of ice accumulation. However, the highest peaks and ridge tops towards the North Carolina and South Carolina state line, which has actually a greater chance of ice accumulation, you can see upwards of 0.75 to 0.99 inches of ice accumulation. Some isolated places along the North Carolina and Georgia border could even see upwards of 1 to 2 inches of ice accumulation. So this is the main concern that I'm continuing to have here through much of this broadcast, through much of this weekend. All this ice accumulation here that we see will create treacherous travel all the way through early next week. Not just that, we are also watching the threat we're under an extreme risk for power outages because the weight from all this ice, from trees and power lines, it can make all this stuff go down. So make sure you have ways to stay warm. Make sure if you can get a full tank of gas in your car. Make sure you are prepared. Again, as I continue to say, be prepared for worst case scenario, because if you're not prepared and this does happen to be the worst event, you're going to wish you were prepared. If this does happen to be a lighter event, at least you were prepared for the worst possible scenario. So it's always a win-win on each side. So make sure you're prepared, make sure you got your flashlights ready, because we are expecting to see widespread power outages from this system. Because this is the reddest I've seen this ice accumulation map in such a long time. However, if you're headed towards the North Carolina-Tennessee state line towards Gatlinburg, a trace to 0.10 inches of ice accumulation remains possible. So please make sure you have ways to stay warm, because those temperatures will drop massively. So that's the exclusive Highland weather snow and ice accumulation forecast. Again, that is subject to change because between now and 24 hours. So keep it tuned to Highland Weather TV. We'll continue to update you and continue to update this weather map here for the latest information. Now looking at the latest winter weather forecasting, we can see our approach for the next 6 to 10 days, the next 1 to 3 days. We are now looking at the amounts, location, and timing, which has been an official check mark now. We've officially said the amounts, location. We're also going to get to that timing. Now let's jump off a little bit towards the Weather Prediction Center and see what they're wanting to talk about with this system. So they've decided to move the heavy snow accumulations just north of North Carolina. That includes Pennsylvania, that includes West Virginia, all from basically from North Texas all the way up to Maine, with heavy snow through much of tomorrow. They've put our entire viewing area for freezing rain, which is why we were talking about that extreme risk for power outages and that ice accumulation forecast map. Make sure you are prepared. I'm not going to be surprised if we see snow out of this, but the more I check the models, the more it's wanting to trend towards a major ice storm event. And this could be the first major ice storm event we've seen in such a long time. I don't want to say historic. I don't want to say once in a lifetime. That is too big of a words for me to say, because it's not happened yet. We're not hours away from the system. But again, just be prepared. Now the post-winter storm. Look at the temperatures. Record cold temperatures remain. We could see upwards of 5 to 10 degrees through much of the western, upstate South Carolina and Piedmont, North Carolina counties. We could see temperatures right at the 0 mark or even below 0 through much of the western North Carolina mountains and East Tennessee. That'll bring a threat for, if you do see power outages and the roads continue to be treacherous, you may be without power for a long time. The National Weather Service itself is even saying be prepared for power outages for a prolonged period of time. So it's best to get prepared now. We can see sub-zero temperatures are expected towards the West Virginia mountains, towards East Tennessee and parts of Kentucky as well. So after the system moves through, we're talking about brutal cold. We're also talking about winds of 40 to 50, even upwards of 60 miles per hour remains possible. So really, really something to watch out for. Now, let's jump at the latest futurecast here of the next couple of hours. We can see starting off the morning, cloudy conditions continue. We can see through much of this afternoon, some pop-up showers still continue to be possible, but out of all, it's going to remain relatively dry. We can see clearing out conditions towards this evening through much of the overnight hours. So let's go ahead here and just skip a little bit in this futurecast. Talk about towards 3 a.m. we could see cloudy conditions. Clouds start to increase a little bit more, becoming more widespread through much of Saturday morning. Here's one thing though, I'm not really agreeing with the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service is saying this system is supposed to start at 3 p.m. I agree with that in some sort of way. The worst parts of it will probably start at 3 p.m. But I would probably say we're most likely going to start seeing the snow move in towards the early portion, mid-morning through Saturday. Now, as you see, this is 9 a.m. Saturday morning. We see snow showers start becoming more widespread through portions of southwest North Carolina, through much of our East Tennessee counties along I-40. Now, let's continue that futurecast. It becomes more widespread towards 11 a.m. That includes from Andrews all the way to Marion and Bakersville, including Burnsville as well. Now, continuing through that futurecast a little bit more, we can see still snow showers continue to be likely heavy at times, especially towards Franklin and Bryson City. Those temperatures will start to warm up a little bit more towards southwest North Carolina and towards Gatlinburg. We can see mixed precipitation will start to move in. Isolated rain showers are possible if those temperatures reach above freezing. Now 3 p.m. when the National Weather Service is suggesting the worst of it to start. Mixed precipitation looking likely towards southwest North Carolina. We can see snowfall accumulation starts to fall towards the western North Carolina mountains, pushing in towards Asheville around the 3 p.m. hour. Now 6 p.m. This is when we talk about the threat for ice, snow, and sleet. You can see the entire viewing area, except maybe some counties will get rain. The entire viewing area is getting mixed precipitation, moderate to very heavy ice or freezing rain. There it is. Now let's continue through that futurecast just a little. Well, that's all the latest futurecast we have here. So definitely something to watch out for. High temperatures, upper 40s through much of the forecasting region, low 50s through the South Carolina upstate. Lows will be in the upper 20s to lower 40s again tonight, mid 40s through the Columbia Metro before we reach that freezing mark in the mid 30s towards the western North Carolina mountains, upper 30s through much of the South Carolina region, even lower 30s towards Piedmont, North Carolina before temperatures drop again. Some brutally cold, not brutally cold, but pretty cold temperatures, low 20s through the western North Carolina mountains, upper 20s towards the Piedmont, lower 30s through the South Carolina upstate. And then we look at Sunday's high temperatures. This is when we'll start seeing those rain showers. There's freezing rain transition into rain showers, which will freeze overnight. Upper 30s, I would probably say much of the mountains will probably stay right at that freezing mark. Upper 30s through much of the western North Carolina mountains, mid 30s, lower 30s, upper 20s towards the Piedmont of North Carolina, lower to mid 30s through much of the South Carolina upstate. Now, taking a look at the updated Highland Weather 7-day forecast, weather alert days still continue Saturday and Sunday. Highs will be in the 40s, dropping into the 30s Saturday and Sunday. We can see snow showers and mixed precipitation continue to be likely Saturday and Sunday before we see brutally cold temperatures on our Monday. Highs in the upper 20s, lows about 5 or even below 0 possible. Then we finally see some drying out conditions Tuesday all the way through Thursday with highs in the upper 30s, dropping in towards that freezing mark on Thursday with lows in the upper teens to lower to mid 20s. Now, one thing before we jump off the air here, models are starting to resurface about a chance for another snowstorm next weekend. However, please don't focus on that. We're trying to get through this. I don't want to get any of the viewers confused. We are not going to be mentioning that until midweek next week, if that trend still continues. But again, don't really focus on that. We are more than 7 days out from when that system is supposed to arrive. So just keep in mind with that. I'm Chief Weather Forecaster Beckett Webb here. Please stay safe. Keep it tuned to Highland Weather TV. We'll provide you with the latest information. And if this does become more widespread as we're expecting and we see more damages out of this system, then we will be doing live coverage through much of tomorrow and also into Sunday. And maybe a little bit of consideration if those temperatures remain brutal Monday night. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you all if I do a live program coming up very soon. Now I will leave you with the latest updated 7-day forecast.